Tarini sent me this video of Ashley Tisdale, and she was recording a curly or her curly girl routine. When I say these curls were limp, okay, they were nothing, 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 nothing.
We're
Anyway,
like
all this, it
petty
was, yeah,
people.
yeah, it was like strands. They literally weren't even curls. They weren't even waves. They were just like
They were
crimped
they were
hair.
straight. They were if your hair is straight and you like tie it up in a ponytail and it gets like the like kink of the ponytail. And she's like, guys, everyone on the internet has been asking me about my curly girl hair routine. And so here it is. It's called straight. I was like I saw it and I was like, who asked you?
No,
Who asked
literally
you
no
this? They
one.
lied.
Nobody asked this. I went to the comments and this one comment caught my attention and it was like, here come all the curly gatekeepers trying to keep us from something. I'm paraphrasing, but it literally was like, here are all the curly gatekeepers. And all I could think of was that we don't gatekeep enough.
Yeah, like this would not count if we didn't include Ashley Tisdale. It wouldn't count as gatekeeping. It would just be like regular like categorization of hair.
Yeah.
Like like her hair was straight. Like like Nadine and I were talking about this and we were like talking about the different things that we've done because we've had like curly hair. And one of the things that I said was like when I was younger, my mom, like my family, like the hairstylist, like didn't know how to cut her curly hair. And so they would give me like a bunch of waves, like waves all over, not waves, layers all over, all over, all over. And my hair was like wavy. And then the shorter it got, the curlier it got. So it would literally like puff up, like anyways. And so I used to wash my hair at night because it would be so like puffy and big because there were all these layers in it and it was like curly and wavy and I would sleep with like literally like a toque on my head. Like
Yeah.
summer, winter, spring, fall, it did not matter. I would wash my hair, I would like kind of let it dry and then I would literally sleep with a toque on my head. Like don't tell me you have curly hair unless you have slept with a fucking toque on your head.
Literally. Don't we did this last night. Don't tell me you have curly hair unless you have toned arms from having to carry your straightener for so long,
Yeah.
straightening every single strand of hair.
Don't tell me you have curly hair unless you have plopped, okay? And left
Yeah, unless
yourself
you've popped.
with a freaking like little thing, like a long sleeve t-shirt tied around your head looking literally insane. Don't tell me you have curly hair.
No, don't tell me you have curly hair unless you're genuinely overwhelmed by your
All the time.
curly girl routine.
Yeah, like actually. Don't tell me you
Yes,
have
go
curly
on.
hair. Let's keep going. If unless you have literally taken a strand of your hair and tried to do that hair porosity test.
Oh my God. I still don't understand what it means. I
And
need
you
help.
like
I need
take
someone.
a glass of water and you like put it in, you put
Let it
your hair in,
float.
and if it like sinks, then it's like, well, I don't even fucking know still. I still am like, what type of hair do I have? And Ashley Tisdale is so confidently like, I would like to share my curly girl routine with you today. Did you do the hair test though? What's your porosity? I'm dead.
Not that like, no, I was gonna say not that we're actually gatekeeping. We are.
We are
We
gatekeeping.
are gatekeeping.
This we're gatekeeping.
No, we are gatekeeping. And but like it's hair. Okay, the movement into natural hair is fascinating for
Yeah.
many reasons. One being that everybody now is doing it and suddenly everybody has curly hair, which like all the power to you, but if your hair is straight, it's not curly.
It's not
I
curly.
just, I just have to tell you. Second of all, I have a love-hate relationship with TikTok, which I feel like I talk about on every episode of our podcast, but this week's edition of why I have a love-hate relationship, I found this curly hairstylist. Like she literally
Yeah.
cuts for curly hair. She's like maybe half an hour from where we live. small business owner. She's Palestinian. Literally all the intersections, okay, of a dream that I want to support.
Stylist, yeah.
I called them, like her hair salon, to book an appointment. And this was like literally last week. And they're like, yeah, she's booking into next year. Next year? I just want a haircut. I will cut it myself if I have to, preferably not. But next year is insane to me. So I really hate that. I love that I'm finding all of these small business owners on TikTok. I hate that everybody else is also finding them and now they're inaccessible.
Yes, I agree. And like also talking about TikTok, I feel like so many people um there's like two things because on one hand there's people who are like if your hair isn't like doesn't look curly when you do da 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 da, then your hair isn't curly. It's like if your hair doesn't look curly when you like wash it and dry it. And I'm like, okay, it's true, but sometimes like you like I have all different types of curls on my head. Like some curls
Yeah.
are like really curly, so like underneath it's like more straight. Like you
Yeah.
can really tell this is straight. Like what is that? But like I just mean like on a literal person's head, there can be like a million different types of curls depending on the day, whatever, blah blah blah, the types of products that they use. And that I'm like, okay, that's gatekeeping because like you can literally have different types of hair and you can have
Yeah.
really like damaged curls and like they don't like know like you have literally like don't tell me you have curly hair unless you spent like your entire teen years hating your curly hair and
And
like
crying about it.
straightening it and crying about it and wishing that you had straight hair and like getting haircuts that clearly did not work for your hair.
Yeah.
And so like I get like that part I'm like, ugh, I don't know. But then there's other people that are like everybody has curly hair now. Like you can just get curly hair if you like have you seen that like finger rolling thing?
I've seen
I
the
don't
finger.
really know how to do it. Um
Yeah. It's like, yeah, you're almost like feeding your hair through your fingers till you kind of like roll it as if you would with a roller.
okay. I have never done it. I don't really know how to do it. People do it like so well. I don't know how to do it, but um
Not us
I
doing a live demonstration.
yeah, I was
Suddenly, this is a how-to video.
suddenly, yeah, this is a DIY. Anyways, the point of the story is that they're like, if you do that, everybody has curly hair. And I'm like, no, they don't. Like,
Oh,
no, they don't. Like, if you don't have curly hair, you you don't have curly hair, like your hair is straight. And like, I know this sounds like a really random thing to be like hyped about, which is like who does and doesn't have curly hair. But I think it's like one of those things that we talk about where again, like us as immigrants, da da da, like grew up and hated our hair. And like
yeah.
maybe we didn't even hate it, but like,
No, I hated it.
yeah, I hated it too. Like I literally would straighten like the shit out of
Yeah.
it. Like, I would like plaster it down like any chance I got,
Yes.
only to like go outside and it's like raining or snowing or humidity or any type of weather and it like is no longer as straight as I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And it's like so hard because like now curly hair is trendy and like curly hair is one part of it, right? Like which is like I'm not trying to say that like people who are white don't have curly hair. Like that's not what I mean. I just mean like it's more often that people who are not white, like when we take a look at like things like natural hair.
Yeah.
Um but like hair is also like so tied with like your culture and like your identity and like the fact that it's like like it's trendy. This like kind of goes back to our conversation last week, which is like how women's bodies come like in and out of fashion.
Yeah.
But like literally like things like hair can come in and out of fashion and it like makes and it's not like a hairstyle where it's like, oh, like a low bun is like really trendy. It's like curly hair is trendy and it's like or like braids are trendy. Like when the Kardashians kept like Kardashians is just like one example. They would always do like
Box
the
braids.
cornrow braids or like the
Yeah.
box braids and like I've seen so many people like even like from our high school do like
Box
braids.
braids.
Yeah, and I'm like this is like it's also a protective hairstyle for like black hair. And so like
Yeah.
when you do it so tightly like if you don't have that type of hair like your hair will literally it'll rip it out because it's like so tight. But
Yeah.
I'm like, you're killing your hair but like I'm like do what I guess but, like or don't, because you shouldn't. But like I just think it's wild that it's like a trend, and like I think that's why like the idea of gatekeeping gets brought up, because it's like should it why shouldn't it be gate kept? Like
Yeah.
when it was something that was like for so long associated with being like unprofessional or unruly or like not looking good or unkempt or dirty or like
Yes.
savage or whatever. But like now it's trendy, so everyone's out here like
Trying to
whatever,
emulate. Yeah.
giving their
That
curly routine actually to go.
yeah, it is like it does go back to the idea of it being trendy, and it's interesting that at the same time that we're seeing this trend in natural hair, or and curly hair specifically, we're also seeing this trend into the like aesthetic girl with what they call like a
The
clean
clean girl,
hairstyle,
yeah.
and the clean girl has like kept hair straight, super tight, like tied back, clean makeup, and that is like a that is like total proximity to whiteness versus like
Yeah, in
someone
like direct
who
opposition to curly hair.
exactly direct opposition to curly hair, especially when we're talking about like kinky hair and
Yeah.
like black hair, which is more of like a tighter curl. That is seen as the opposite, and that is seen as someone who is dirtier,
Yeah.
unruly, like you said,
Yeah.
messier. So it does have to do with this idea of like trends and also capitalism, because at the end of the day, and like I
This is
remember
capitalism.
we
Fuck
always come
capitalism.
back to the same product, we always come back to the same topics. I remember you saying this to me that like, or I think you even like put it on Instagram, but I remember you saying this that you were overwhelmed by the volume of products needed to get the end result that you wanted. And that is just capitalism, because there is a market to like the market of telling people that they need like a host of products
Yes.
to manage their hair is huge.
Yeah, and I think that actually is gatekeeping. That if you have curly hair, it needs to look a certain way, and so you need to do
Yes,
like these like 25 steps to get to like the desired curly hair. Like if you just have whatever
exactly.
your curly hair is, it's not good enough. Like you have to have like the desired curly hair
Yeah.
look. And yeah, so I was talking about it because excuse me, I like so talking about like never knowing how to like do my hair and stuff, like when I was very little, like when I was like literally a baby, like my hair was like like tight ringlets, like a
Mhm.
literal like and my hair was very like very very short, and like I had ringlets. And when it started to grow out, like my mom didn't really know what to do with my hair, so she would just like blow dry it. And I had this
Yeah.
like little bob with like little bangs, and my mom would like not know how to blow dry my hair, or like not know how to like do my hair or cut it or anything. And so I would just, and then when I was growing up, I was like, I wish that I had straight hair. I wish that I had straight hair. And so I would like literally just like straighten it all the time or whatever. And it wasn't until maybe I was like 13 or like entering high school kind of, or just before that, I was like, okay, I'm like not gonna like fight my hair anymore. I'm just gonna like try to let it be curly. But a big thing that I had to do was like when I would wash it, I didn't know how to blow dry it, because you can't just blow dry it with like a regular blow dryer. You need like a
Yeah.
diffuser. Anyways, this is all to fast forward now because my mom got the Dyson Airwrap. And like, you know, this, like when I wash my hair, I just let it air dry. Like I never do anything to it. And it's like so funny because every time I come over to your house, your mom will like get mad at me. She's like, "Why is your hair wet?" She's like, "Why did you leave
Yes.
your house with wet hair?" And I'm
Yes.
like, "Because I just don't even have a like I don't have like a thing, and like it's so much effort to like blow dry, and I just like I don't care, like it'll just dry." But anyways, I actually got to a point where I was like, I don't want to like have wet hair anymore. Like I want to be able to dry it. So I got a Dyson because I don't want to like I don't want to like ruin my hair with like the heat and stuff. So I got a Dyson diffuser.
Yeah.
I've used it 3 times. I'm not even joking. Mostly because like it's
Oh,
summer, and like now I can leave my hair wet and
yeah.
I'll just go out and it's fine. But maybe I'll use it more in the winter. But the point of this story is that I was so overwhelmed when I was like buying it, because they were like, well, if you're gonna get this, then you also have to get da 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 da, and you have to like
Yeah.
put in like a leaf, because I was like, okay, well, if I'm gonna like start diffusing it, like maybe I should like put stuff in my hair to like make sure it like stays like protected, and I'm like preserving my curls, and I'm not gonna like ruin it. And like it was so much. Like, I was like, "Never mind." I was like, "I don't even want the Dyson." I was like, "Keep it." Like, it was, like, so much stuff. It was like, first you need a leave-in conditioner, and then you need a this, and then you need a gel, and then you need a mousse, and then you need a this, and you need a heat prote, and I was like, "I can't keep up with this amount of steps for anything." And so,
Yeah.
I just remember, like, I was like, "Why is it that, like, why is it like that?" And I just it like it's overwhelming, and it's a different sort of gatekeeping, because it's like, however my curly hair is, I can't just let it be because I need it to like look good a certain way like in the curly state that it is.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. It's funny when you were saying that, like, you don't tell me you have curly hair unless you've cried about how much you hate your curly hair growing up and like have been wanting to straighten it your whole life. I used to go, and I think we talked about this actually in our last hair episode, which was like when we first started our podcast.
Yeah.
But I used to go and get these scalp facials, which
Mhm,
are, I think they were like Korean scalp facials, and they were amazing.
mhm.
And the first time that I went, I remember I was going out for lunch with my family to Toronto, and we had this whole day planned where we would go. We had our appointment booked. We would go for this scalp facial, and they I didn't know this until we like entered into the place, that when they finish the treatment of your hair, they just let it dry naturally. Like they'll diffuse it, but they
Yeah,
won't blow dry it.
yeah.
And I had a full panic attack in
Yeah.
the place. I started crying. I was like, no, I don't want this. Like, I want you to straighten it. I don't want my natural hair. Funny enough, that was actually the day that I stopped straightening my hair altogether. And I put up, I don't know if you remember, it's so specific, but I had put up that picture on Instagram, and it was like my natural hair, and I never looked back. And so
Love it.
since then, it's been a literal journey because of, one, finding out the products, like you said, that you need versus don't actually need is an
Yeah.
experience in itself. Two, finding out like who can best cut your hair and what haircut best suits you is also another journey. But all this is to say that, like, yes, the education around curly hair is in itself a form of gatekeeping.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've learned a lot is hair typing, which, what does this
Yes.
say? I sent Sharini this article. It's fascinating. Hair typing, for anyone who doesn't know, is it's basically a method that was created by Oprah's hairstylist back in the 90s. It like categorizes the different types of hair from straight hair, which is type 1, to kinky hair, which is type 4. And then the like varying shapes within those categories are categorized from like A to C. So it's really what it's meant to do is to help you better target the products that you buy to fit your hair type. But just like you said, there's so many different types of hair. You can have like literally different types of hair on your own head. It's
Yeah.
not really like a one size fits all. But what is most fascinating, and like this is really important when we talk about gatekeeping, this system of hair typing actually started in the 1800s and was a way to measure people's hair based on proximity to whiteness. And so they would
I'm not
have,
surprised by this.
yeah, which I'm freaking dead. Like every time we have our podcast, and it's like two topics: socialism and capitalism are the two.
Manifestation. Don't forget
And
manifestation,
manifestation.
please.
Manifestation. But I was reading online at this article that they were saying that in the past, they would have the pencil test, where if you would put a pencil through your hair and your hair was able to hold it as you shook your head, then you were not considered white, which is crazy to me. So the critique of hair typing is that people with type 4 hair, so that like kinkier hair that we were talking about, have always been kept out of the process. There are limited products to suit their hair, but endless
Yeah.
products to suit everyone else. So bringing this back to the beginning of this episode when we talked about that girl's comment, it is fascinating to me that now that curly hair is a trend, that we're talking about gatekeeping people out of curly hair when Black women have been gate kept out of curly hair.
No, absolutely. And like even like things like I'm sure you have like seen the articles where like in Walmart they'll have like the rows and rows of like the generic shampoos of like herbal essences, whatever. But then when it comes to like curly girl or like hair products meant for Black women or like
Yeah.
natural hair or black hair, it's like kept under lock and key and they're like way more expensive.
I
I don't
never
know if
knew
you've
that.
seen it, but like people
Oh.
have literally like talked about how those hair products, like those hair gels, like whatever it is, are like kept under lock and key. And it's like it sounds so absurd to say, but like it's literally making the assumption that like people with that type of hair are black and therefore
Will steal?
will like steal and it like needs to be like literally kept under lock and key. And it's like
This is
it's
a fucking stretch.
it's literally hair gel. It's hair gel. It's like those types of products. And like it's also like way more expensive than like any other brand that like a white
Yes.
person or like a person with straight hair
Yeah.
would be able to use. And like and that I think even when you take a look at like just the idea like anything like the idea that you like all of a sudden have to like search so much harder or like work so much harder for products that cater to people that are not white and don't exemplify European beauty standards. Like even things like foundation, like how long did it take, literally how long did it take for like makeup brands to start having like shades
Yeah.
of foundation or concealer or whatever that were dark enough for people with dark skin. And like and even things like even now like I feel like I will go to a Sephora or something and I'll be like, "Oh, like I need to get like a new concealer or whatever." And like they won't always know how to like match my skin. They'll be like, "Oh, well, I think it's like this." And I'm like, "No, this is too dark or this is too light or whatever." And like there's still so much of like just like not everything is complicated. I feel like everything's made complicated
Yeah.
when it strays from like whiteness in any way. And like it's the same thing with hair. Like your hair routine, like how to take care of your hair, like all of these things are made to seem more complicated. And sometimes when they're even not, right? Like one of the things that I remember we've talked about this in a different context, but like how like hair oiling is like super trendy now.
Yes.
And like people will always be like, "Oh, like I like put oil in my hair and I like tied it up and like it's just," and they'll literally quote like it's like it helps you like get that clean girl look because you can like like sleek it back into like a little bun. And like I like my grandma like would put oil in her hair every single day and like put it into a little braid. um and like it's like something that you would like be embarrassed to do. Like you
Mhm.
wouldn't go out with curly curly hair or with oil in your hair.
Yeah.
And it's like that's like also like a trend that was like literally not meant for white people but like now it's
It's it's not like what I find very hard is that not it's not that we want to gatekeep. It's that we're forced to gatekeep because people are
yeah.
appropriating it.
Okay, I actually love that because that's exactly what it is. We're like forced to gatekeep because it's something that we finally have like been able to reclaim.
Yes, exactly. Like I can only imagine seeing someone like put oil in their hair, how frustrating it would be for it to now like how frustrating it would be for it to be a trend and you watch this person like I can only imagine like watching a a TikTok how-to video and was
Yeah.
fuming inside.
And there's so many of those things. Like there's so many of those things. Like that's just like one example because we're talking about hair. But yeah, and I think it's like the same thing with like curly hair. You're right. I think we're forced to gatekeep, not because we're really gatekeeping, but because it's the
Yeah.
first time that like it's seen as something that's like acceptable and cool and nice and like trendy.
Yeah.
But even then, like it still is more so when it's done by white people. Like I really don't fucking know why Ashley Tisdale released this video of her like with her curly hair. Like I don't really get it. And like if you really wanted a curly hair routine, like there's literally millions of non-white people who are actually putting out curly hair routines because their hair is actually curly. And like I don't know. I actually put up this whole rant on my like Panini Instagram, my Finstagram about like getting a Dyson and like how it's like really hard to like to to like always like when you think about doing something that like strays from whiteness, it always like feels so complicated, not because
Yeah.
it is inherently, but because like that's just like the society in which we live where everything is catered to whiteness
Mm.
and like European standards of beauty. And someone replied to me, and we've talked about this too, about like how when you have curly hair, you just can't get rid of frizz. It's like
Yeah.
frizz, curly hair, like nice to meet you. Like it will never like you'll never be able to like separate the two. That's just like
Yeah.
on par for curly hair. And this girl like replied back to me and she has like curly hair and she was like, I think like she said something like very beautiful and like I kind of want to like go back and find it because it was very sweet and it was like I think curly hair is beautiful and unique just like every person that has curly hair and like it exemplifies like who they are and like they're like that they are like that they're more like free spirited like they're like one with who they are and like they can like they don't have to like strive to like be in line with whatever society tells them to be. And I was like, hey, that's really sweet. I was like, I love this. I will literally find it because I think it's like so nice. But I just wish that like things didn't have to be romanticized like that. Like it was very sweet sentiment. And I like think back to it and I was like, that's like a beautiful thing to say.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm like, this idea of like again, like when we stray from whiteness, like it has to be like not fetishized, but it has to be like made into like it has to be romanticized in some way. Like you can't just like be like you can't just like have curly hair and it's
Yeah.
fine and it's like not a thing. It has to like be a thing. But like people with straight hair have straight hair and it's like not a thing. It's like okay, you have straight hair, whatever.
You either have like straight hair and you're seen as this like tidy kept white girl,
Yeah.
or you have everything but, and the only acceptable version of that is exotic or exoticism.
Yes, exactly. It's like this exotic look or like you're so like different and you're like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
There's literally a bajillion people in this world that have curly hair.
Yeah. And yeah, I remember because this literally happened the last time I went out, and it happened this other time before. But this one time I was in university and I was out with my friend Kaylee. I think I said the story on our last episode about hair, but I had my hair like curly, natural. I don't think I like really did much to it except let it live and let it loose. And at the end of the night, this guy comes up to us and we're literally at Burger King. Like I'm living my life. And this guy comes up to us. He's like, what are you mixed with? But I heard him say,
Yes.
what do you mix it with? And so I went off on my hair routine. I'm like, oh, like I throw in some coconut oil, like some I put in like a leave-in conditioner. And he looked so confused until Kaylee stepped in and she was like, she's Lebanese. But it literally reminded me when we're talking about this
Yeah.
like exotic look that anytime I'm out, someone is asking me, what are you mixed with? Where are you from?
Yeah. Like I remember when I was in elementary school and I had curly hair and someone was like, "How is your hair curly?" And I was like
What is that question? Genes. Like,
I was like I
how
was
are
like,
you stupid? Genetics. Like,
"What
I
do
don't know
you
what to tell you.
mean?" I was like, "I just washed it." And he's like, "No, but like everyone's hair is straight." And I was like,
It was a guy.
He was a guy. Actually, I still know him to this day.
Who is it? Drop the name. Drop the name.
I can't drop the name right now.
No,
I
drop
can't,
the name.
not that he listens to this podcast.
Like you're still friends with this person?
Like I still know him. Like not that he's listening to this podcast at all. I can't confirm, but he's like enough in my orbit that like it might get back to him. So I won't say it. And I also doubt that he remembers this because it was like literally so long ago. But I just remember it being so funny because he was like, why is your like how is your hair curly? And I just remember being like,
text me his name. What the hell is this?
Are you ready? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
It's also it's even funnier when I say it.
I feel like
I think you know. It just gets funnier and funnier for reasons I literally cannot explain on this podcast, but it just trust me, that one's funny.
I honestly thought it was someone else. I thought you were gonna say. Sorry, also speaking of gatekeeping, I don't mean to be gatekeeping everybody.
We don't mean to gatekeep this joke. It's just really, it's like there would be too much context to give.
I don't know why I'm this.
That would be wild. I didn't know the person you said for that long. I only really knew him in high school. I haven't known him long enough for it to have been him. And that might just give it away if you're a real one and you know. We digress.
Yeah, we really digress. We really digress. On the like intersection of topics though, of like exoticism and elementary school, my favorite movie to this day is Princess Diaries. And looking back, that scene where they like transform her from this ugly duckling to this beautiful swan, my girl just got a blowout, but all she needed was some moisture in those curls. Like looking back, I really do question why they straightened her beautiful curls, and two, why it was so, not that it was so romanticized, but it literally
like, it was like this like iconic moment.
Yeah.
Her like
it totally beauty. Yes. And it still is. Like I love the movie.
Yeah.
But it does speak to like beauty standards and the type of beauty standards that we like instill and download onto young women. Like as a young and impressionable girl watching this movie, I grew up wanting my hair, like I basically grew up thinking that like you're not beautiful unless you straighten your hair.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And I think too, like that's like so often the thing with like I have so many thoughts in my head, but like first things first, the idea of like beauty being tied to like straight hair or like a specific type of hair and like curly hair not being that, and like specifically being in opposition to like wealth and beauty and goodness, like that's something that I think is evident in like a lot of movies, like Hollywood, Bollywood movies too, like totally. A lot of the times when they're depicting like women of like lower class, it'll be like people with curly hair, and then when it's like women of like higher class, they have like beautiful straight like luscious hair and like you know, and it's like but it's like straight, and it's like whereas like curly hair is like unkempt and it's like dirty and it's whatever. And like literally Princess Diaries is like case in point.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I was going to say is that it also happens like in every day. Like that's something that's internalized in every day. Like when you talk to people who have like black hair, like I think a big narrative is like, oh, I don't feel comfortable wearing my hair like that, like to work. Somebody that I work with, she's black and she like has like natural hair. And I was like talking to her about, because she always puts it up in like a ponytail. And I was like, we were just talking about hair one day. Like I think she literally one day was like, oh, your curls look really good today. And she was saying how like up until recently, she actually didn't feel comfortable leaving her hair natural at work because she was like, I just like, it just like didn't make me feel like, it made me feel like unprofessional. Like I felt like it wasn't like it was like unkempt, like people would see me as being like not like take like caring about how I showed up. And that's like a lot of things. That's like I also feel like sometimes like women with like makeup and like
Yeah.
having to wear makeup to work because if they don't, it's like not seen as whatever, or like dressing up a certain way. Um and even something like I wear a lot of like Indian clothes to work, especially in the summer, and like literally people have come up to me and have been like, I didn't like feel confident wearing them until I saw you wearing them,
Oh,
and so now I feel more comfortable wearing like
oh my
some
God.
clothes to work, which is like really nice to hear, but it's also so sad. It's also like why do we feel so, and I get why, but it's just it's like it's really sad that like those things are so ingrained into our head, and like you and I can like have grown from it, and like I'm sure we still feel some sort of insecurity like when my curls don't look good one day or they're not like perfectly defined curls. I'm like, ugh, like it just looks messy, like it doesn't look good, like whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and I know that's just like internalized. And like sometimes I watch people do these like curly girl routines, and I'm like, oh my God, like if I got like this product and I put it all in my hair, like, will my curls look like that? And it's like, probably not, because that's just not my hair. And so I'm
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Like it's still internalized in some way, but I
Yes.
think at least you and I can like take a step back and like reevaluate it. But so many people just don't. And no fault of their own, that's just literally what like the society we live in like wants you to think and how it wants you to act, and it's like it's really disheartening.
100%. But like but that's amazing. Like we're talking about gatekeeping, and what you're doing is the complete opposite. Like you're inviting other people in to join you, and
No,
like
not actually, because don't, no, just
and not Ashley Tisdale though. Like you stay right in your lane, my
stay in
girl.
your
Like
lane.
you, like she's
Not
good
though.
though. Like we're talking
Yeah,
about gatekeeping. Sorry, but like we're talking about gatekeeping a white girl. Like I think
yeah,
she's gonna
like
be fine.
like we don't have power there.
I think she's gonna be
She's good. She's
fine.
completely fine.
And even myself, like I'm freaking fine, because at the end of the day, like just self-reflecting, my curls, like not telling anyone where I'm from, I come off as exotic. Okay, that's a privilege. Again, black women who want to have their natural hair don't have that privilege, and they also don't have like the privilege of the product line, like we discussed. So yeah, I'm gonna continue to gatekeep where gatekeeping is necessary. But
Good.
I love that you are making space for other people to feel like they can really be themselves in a place so intimate like the workplace, because
Yeah.
it really is an intimate space. You're there for a big chunk of your day, and like nothing is worse than not feeling like yourself. So
Yeah. I agree.
like I'm all for spaces where you can feel and be yourself. Live, laugh, and love.
Live and laugh and love.
Live and laugh and
Our
love.
favorite motto.